Defense officials from across Asia, the United States, Europe, other parts, that they have started gathering in Singapore as the 2026 dialogue opens today. However, for the second year in a row, in fact, the Chinese defense minister will be skipping this week's event. Beijing has said it is sending a delegation of experts and scholars from the People's Liberation Army to that security forum. Meanwhile, the U.S. Defence Secretary arrived in Singapore for the Security Forum, which will be running from May 29 to May 31. Hegseth was seen training with the soldiers stationed on the USS Boxer in Singapore ahead of his diplomatic meetings with international leaders. Hegseth's speech will be focusing on the military's common sense approach to safeguarding U.S. vital national interests in the Indo-Pacific. According to the Pentagon, Hegseth also met the Vietnam president on the sidelines of the summit. As per reports, they were expected to focus on maritime security cooperation and unmanned capabilities. India, on the sidelines of the summit, underscored its strategic priorities for a stable and secure Indo-Pacific through high-level diplomatic outreach and academic engagement. In fact, the Ministry of Defense said that the Defence Secretary engaged with leaders, think tanks, academia on strengthening the Indo-Pacific security architecture, defense industrial collaboration, and emerging technology partnerships. Now, in its 23rd year, the three-day summit is known for its exchanges between delegates as they confront some of the biggest defense issues. In fact, China's rapid military modernization and assertiveness in the Indo-Pacific will likely be among the top issues on the table. According to top diplomats and security officials, the dialogue also coming as West Asia is increasingly on edge as new attacks have threatened the tenuous ceasefire. In fact, Russia, meanwhile, has intensified its war on Ukraine. South Korea, meanwhile, has conveyed its willingness to engage in dialogue with Pyongyang. The foreign minister said, expressing expectations that the North would eventually respond to Seoul's efforts to establish peace on the Korean Peninsula. As per local news reports, the minister said at this point, there were no visible signs of North Korea returning to dialogue. The comments came following his meeting with Singapore's foreign minister. In fact, separately, Singapore's foreign minister also met his North Korean counterpart in Pyongyang during a rare working visit aimed at discussions on bilateral ties and regional issues.
Friends, the international situation is even more volatile, probably more dangerous now than it has been for a long time. And in times like this, it's all the more important to consult closely, to have good friends, and to have a relationship based on trust, and to be able to exchange perspectives.
We are fully convinced that this will serve as a meaningful occasion to inject new vitality into the ceaseless strengthening and development of the friendship and cooperation between Korea and Singapore under the leadership of the General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea.